I'm bigcal and welcome to my world. Over the last few years there's been an influx of retro style or retro inspired video games, and in no small part due to this game, Shovel Knight, being a huge success. Now I was excited about this game when I first saw it on the, was it Kickstarter was it on, or Indiegogo? I think it was Kickstarter, but crowdfunding supported it anyway. I saw the game, loved the look of it, and I wanted it. However, at the time it wasn't coming out for another year, so couldn't play that. In the meantime, I needed something to fill my time with. Another 2D platformer in retro style, something just to keep me going until Shovel Knight was finally released and in my possession. So today I want to talk about a much lesser known 8-bit style, retro inspired 2D platformer. It was released on the PC and was called 8BitBoy. Armed with my Xbox 360 PC controller and a very small amount of money in my bank account, I took to Steam to see what was on offer to fill my time until Shovel Knight. And being the cheap bastard that I am, my attention was immediately drawn to the weekly sale, where I found two games that potentially met my criteria. The first was Uzi, Earth Adventure, and the second, of course, 8BitBoy. Uzi claimed to have spectacular HD visuals and hand-drawn art, while still bringing back childhood memories of old-school 2D platformers. 8BitBoy on the other hand just looked like a Super Mario Bros. Clone that probably wasn't really worth the sub £1 that I paid for it. So, after paying for both, downloading and installing, I decided that Uzi was likely to be the better of the two and started playing it. And after an hour of jumping around and collecting seemingly pointless items, I wasn't impressed. Yes, the HD visuals and hand-drawn art looked great, but the gameplay was downright dull. Maybe it gets better, but if I have to play more than an hour in a 2D platformer for things to pick up, then something is wrong. And that brings me to my game pick, the one that I want to talk about today, 8BitBoy. As I mentioned, at first glance it looks like a Super Mario Bros. Rip-off, essentially. And clearly, Rasmus Sorensen, the man who created this entire game all on his own, was inspired by the likes of Super Mario Bros. And Mega Man and other 8-bit style 2D platformers. So going into it, I was just expecting, a Super Mario Bros. Clone, it'll be fun maybe, but there'll be nothing special about it. Boy was I surprised. Being a 2D platformer, there isn't much of a story here, as honestly everyone should expect. The story we do get is simple enough. Our hero is unemployed and pretty miserable, so when he rediscovers his old games console, he gets all happy and nostalgic, until he's sucked inside the game. In order to escape, he must complete the game himself, and that's the game in a nutshell. However, if you check out the website for 8BitBoy and read the about page and how the story of the game relates to its creator in a very real way, it's actually kind of cool. Visually, I think the game looks great, very reminiscent of old 8-bit style platformers. Is it actually 8-bit? I'm buggered if I know, I can't tell the sodding difference. I just know it looks old and I like the look at it. So visually, it impressed me, even if it is very simple. When you start a new game, we get a nice tutorial level that shows off the colourful aspect of the game and gets you used to the controls and abilities that you now have. So using my Xbox controller, the controls were spot on. Anyone who has played a Mario type platform before will immediately know what to do. Holding the B button to run, X to jump, and B also acts as the fire button when you get a weapon. Now where it differs from Mario, and likely takes from another game that I'm not entirely familiar with, is you can upgrade weapons. The first weapon is a simple projectile. Upgrading it will allow you to fire off 2 shots at once, and another upgrade will have 2 fireball shots which are stronger. One thing you can do with any of the weapons, regardless of what level they are, is hold the down button while you shoot, which allows you to shoot upwards, and the projectiles will bounce off walls and platforms, which really allows you to kill any enemies on platforms above you that much easier. A welcome addition to the game, and again, I'm unsure where the inspiration for this mechanic comes from, but it works great here, and that's all I care about. So those are the gameplay basics, but where do you test these skills? The levels, of course. 8BitBoy features 5 worlds, each with 10 levels in, so 50 levels in total, which is really good for a game created by one person. And we get the usual world style levels: jungle, ice, lava, desert, and then taking a step away from Mario, we get more of a, I guess, Mega Man inspired world that is futuristic. And they're all really well designed, they all look great, they all fit in perfectly with the styles. These worlds all feature unique enemies, as well as lots of basic ones seen across all levels, such as a snow monster that throws giant snowballs at you, or a robot that will explode a few seconds after you jump on it. They also include their own types of level hazards, with the futuristic world making excellent use of moving tracks, and the desert and lava levels having rising sand or lava that you must avoid by continuing to climb up high. So even with 10 levels per world, the level design here is absolutely first class, and the level mechanics specific to each world really help prevent you from getting bored quickly, or at all in my case. As well as simply getting to the end of the level, there are lots of secrets in each level as well, such as hidden shortcuts that will allow you to bypass certain parts of the level, hidden warps that will let you bypass entire worlds sometimes, and hidden coins in every single level. There are 50 of these in total to collect. There are also hidden areas designed very much like New Super Mario Bros. U, where a wall may look solid, but if you were to happen to pass through it, it would turn transparent and you would find a hidden area. In these hidden areas you might just get some extra coin blocks, and trust me, collecting 100 coins here is well worth it. Unlike Mario, where you'll simply gain an extra life, here you get a random item that is it's almost like a roulette wheel spinning round, and you get a random item. So it might be a power up for your weapon, which is incredibly handy, and you can save it for later, or you'll get an extra life. And scattered throughout the game are special red coins, which appear to be rather rare to come across. I only came across them maybe 3 times throughout the game. Collecting one of these and then finishing the level with it will result in a bonus stage that reminds me a lot of the Donkey Kong Country bonus stages, where you must collect all the items in a specific amount of time. Doing so here will give you multiple extra lives. And at some point in the game I desperately needed a lot of extra lives, as there were certain levels that I died a lot on. So when I was able to come across one of these levels and I got something like 15 extra lives, I was very, very happy. After completing 10 levels in a world, you then get a boss battle, and these definitely scream nostalgia to me. Very similar to Mario style bosses, you have to jump on them a certain number of times, avoid their attacks and figure out their patterns. The patterns vary for each enemy, and the difficulty does vary as well with them. I actually personally found the final boss to be one of the easiest in the game to do, while some of the in-between ones were much more difficult. But they're definitely fun, definitely all very doable, and it's always cool trying to figure out the different patterns of them. And before I continue talking about the actual game and the ending, I just want to make a quick note about the music in this game. It is perfect. It fits this game perfectly. It is wonderful. It definitely has that retro style to it, and each theme fits the level that it's in. It gives you a great atmosphere. However, I did look up the music for this to see who made it or anything, and it turns out that it can be gotten by anybody for free to use with commercial projects. Now, was this created specifically for this game and then made available for free to everyone else, or was it just the creator who made this game on his own, he didn't want to spend much money, obviously I understand that, so he just found this and it fit the game. I don't know, and honestly it doesn't really matter to me. The music sounds great and it really does fit. It was like it was made for this game. Whether or not it was, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't care because it's wonderful in this game. It's perfect, and it's definitely some music that you should look up and listen to. It's actually pretty cool. So, high marks there for the music, whether or not he just picked it and it was the perfect pick, or someone made it for the game. Either way, it's great. And back to the game. Please note, there will now be spoilers for the end of the game. So, you've completed all 50 levels. Get to the final boss. You defeat him, which, as I mentioned earlier, for me was one of the easier bosses. I don't know if it's just because I've been playing the game for so long at that point, I was better at the game and was able to defeat the boss easier, or if it just was easier in general. So, I've done it right. This weird pixie fairy thing appears, and I'm assuming it's going to be the cutscene for the end of the game. Tells you that you now must collect all 50 hidden coins. Remember, I said there was a hidden coin in every single level? Turns out, these are not optional. You must get every single one in order to complete the game. And at this point in the game, the world map unlocks. And now that you have the world map unlocked, you can now select which level you want to go to, which makes getting the coins that you don't have much easier. Because before, you just went from level to level. You completed a level, you moved to the next one. You complete that, you moved to the next one. There was no going back. So, if you didn't get the coin, you didn't get the coin. Which is why I didn't think anything of it. I thought they were just optional. But no. So now you have to go through all the levels again that you didn't collect the coin in. Which seems like a way of extending the game, you know, essentially by 50%. Or 100%. Double the game, whatever. 100% I think is the right one. Anyway, at first I was a little bit niffed about that. I'm going to go through these levels again just to collect these coins, but you know, it just seems like a cheap way of extending the game. But honestly, I ended up really enjoying hunting for these coins because some of them are very well hidden. I found myself literally trying to go through every wall to see for hidden areas, you know, looking for hidden blocks everywhere, and eventually I did manage to find them all. Finished the final boss again, got the real ending, and the satisfaction that I got from 100% in this game was immense. I couldn't believe it, it was weird. I genuinely enjoyed hunting for these coins. True, it would have been nice perhaps if the world map was unlocked from the beginning. So if you did 3 levels and then only got the coin in the first one, you could still go back to level 2 and 3 and redo them and try and find the coin before moving to the next one. I don't really like the fact that you only unlock the world map after you've completed all the levels and then you have access to them all at once. I think it would have been nice to access the levels that you completed at any time you wanted. But yeah, that's just a minor complaint. Overall, like I said, I enjoy collecting these coins. The level design in this game is magnificent. I've seen some indie platformers in the past and level design wise looks like a 5-year-old could have done them. I, at one point, thanks to this very game, attempted to make my own 2D platformer. It was going rather well until all the files corrupted and I lost the game and I just never had the energy to start it again. But the level design that I was doing, in all honesty, the first level that I'd set up was terrible, level design wise. This game, not even close to terrible, puts some of the best Mario levels to shame. It's true that some of the best 2D Mario levels are not as good as some of the levels in this. The way that they use the game mechanics with, you know, like the lava or the sand rising and coming back down, hidden blocks and things like that. You got the moving platforms, you have like escalator platforms that you have to build up some speed and run across and jump to do gaps. There are a hell of a lot of times where you have to be very, very precise with your jumps, and again, the satisfaction when you finally do it is immense. So I loved playing through these levels. I loved playing through most of them again and hunting for those coins, and finally completing the game was fantastic. So, considering that this game cost less than £1 in a Steam sale, which by the way is very often in those weekly Steam sales, so get it for less than £1 because it is well worth it. But considering it was less than £1, and considering it was my second choice out of the 2 games that I bought at the time, the other one, Ooze the Earth Adventure, I was so surprised by how much fun I had with this game. I have paid a lot more money for much more highly regarded games and not had nearly as much fun with them. This game being a very indie game, extremely cheap even when it's not on sale, and looking at first glance just like a 2D Mario platformer clone, it's flown under the radar of so many people, and that is such a shame because this is a fantastic game and I absolutely 100% highly recommend it to any fan of retro style games or platformers. Pick it up. Okay, and now for my final thoughts and score for the game. The good looks good, sounds good, controls good, levels are extremely well designed, and game mechanics are fantastic, and it's just overall a really fun, really good 2D platformer. Negatives with the game, like I said, the world map only unlocking after you've essentially completed the game the first time, and having the game extend by going through the levels and having to collect 50 coins to unlock the real ending is a bit of a downer. I would have preferred if you knew from the start you had to collect those coins, and if you had the world map unlocked. That's just what I would have personally preferred. And the only other real flaw is that the game really only lasts about 6 hours. That's how long it took me anyway, and there were quite a few times where I died a lot on certain levels. So if you're better than me at platforming games, there's a good chance it'll take you less than 6 hours. But again, you can get it for under £1. Bargain. And my overall score for 8BitBoy is 85 out of 100. If this had more levels and the length was increased without having to redo levels, it would no doubt be much higher. It is truly a fantastic 2D indie platformer that, in my opinion, is right up there with some of the best Mario games in terms of level design and fun. So, I'm bigcal, thanks for watching. Make sure to pick up 8BitBoy on Steam if you get the chance, and I'll see you again next time.